going on, guys? It is October already. I can't believe it. 2021 is winding down, but the fights keep rolling on. Bellator 267 going on right now. UFC Fight Night 193 tomorrow. We will have Ken Hathaway and John Morgan out in Vegas, as always. And as of right now, I'm here to answer your questions. So without further ado, we'll jump into it. First one from my man Mark Fellows, the CBE, the Certified Beer Expert. Sounds like somebody I would want to have a drink with. Mark asks, hey Nolan, would you like to see a Volkanovski, or how would you see a Volkanovski versus Cejudo fight playing out? First of all, I just want to take a step back and say, I think Henry Cejudo continually bringing up fights, saying that he wants to come back, saying that, you know, that's his belt, or he's come back to flyweight, or he's going to fight at bantamweight. I think this is the fight that would just completely inject him back into the public's interest. I think moving up to featherweight, trying to capture that third title against Alexander Volkanovski, whose stock could not be higher right now. I think that this is the highest it's been. He's finally getting that respect that he deserves after that phenomenal fight against Brian Ortega back in last weekend. So for me, I love this fight. I think it would be very interesting because I think that Cejudo's strengths and Volkanovski's strengths are kind of different, but also similar. Obviously, Cejudo, I think if you were to drag this fight to the ground, it would be very interesting to see how Alexander Volkanovski could deal with the wrestling. Volkanovski's obviously so tough to submit, as we saw against Ortega. And then on the feet, I'd be interested to see how Alex battles, Cejudo, who's coming up. And also Alex just usually has to deal with a height difference or a length difference. With Cejudo, I don't think he'd necessarily obviously have to deal with that. So be a lot of intangibles. I would kind of just off the top of my head lean towards Alexander Volkanovski, but Henry Cejudo has continued time and time again to prove people wrong, myself included. And for him to go out there and potentially capture that third title would be something else. I'm all for that fight. That one really interests me. All right, question number 2 from my man Zane Bando. Which fighter has more to lose this weekend in the 2 big main events? MVP, Lima, Walker, Santos. And why do you think that is? Thanks for answering my question. Cheers. Well, Zane, I appreciate you sending it in, and it's an interesting question, and by the time this video comes out, obviously, like I said, the Bellator main event will be over. But if I were to include all 4 of those names, I think it would still be, my answer would still be in the UFC. I think Thiago Santos has the most to lose here. Coming off back-to-back losses since his knee surgery, losing to Glover Teixeira, losing to Alexander Rakic. To me, I think that this is kind of a must-win scenario. You know, I don't know how many people will consider him a future title challenger, second-time title challenger if he goes out there and loses to Johnny Walker, a guy that struggled to kind of get over that hump, who hasn't been the most technical at times, though very, very exciting, a big-time character, and a good fighter, a finisher as well. But to me, I think Thiago needs to win. He needs to win impressively. He needs to show that he is a whole caliber above a fighter like Johnny Walker. And so I think that the pressure should be on his shoulders. There's a lot more for him to lose. And, I guess we'll see how it plays out tomorrow night. Last question from 2001, Kodzukin. Do you think Jorge Masvidal will have another championship shot again, or should he face Colby if Colby loses to Usman the second time? I think your second option there is something that's more favorable, more realistic to something I would be more interested in as a fan. No offense to Jorge Masvidal, but I think he needs some time away from the title for 2 reasons. One, for his own growth. I think he needs to get better if he wants to compete at that level again. And I know he's not getting any younger, but he's got to get some wins. He's got to get people reinvested where people think that he could win the title. And I think also he's got to wait for Kamaru Usman to kind of not be the champion anymore, to be quite honest with you. It's very tough for a fighter to get a rematch against a defending champion in 2 back-to-back title fights like he did. So third time's is not going to be the charm. It's going to be a difficult task for him to get people invested again in order for him to go out there and get that third title shot. So for me, he's got to, time is not on his side in terms of his age, but he's got to make it his friend at the same time. Utilize the time away from a title fight to get some wins. Maybe Kamaru will somehow get ousted by someone else. I'm not sure who that would be. Then you come in. But until then, there's big fights out there for him. There's Leon Edwards. There's Colby if Colby Covington loses. Those are the type of fights that we need to see Masvidal in to build up that public interest again, and at the same time, have him move up the divisional ladder. Appreciate everyone that sent in questions, guys. This week was great, as always. If you guys have questions that you want answered next week, you can comment below. I'll also be sending out a tweet asking for them pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. But appreciate everyone. Once again, tune into our coverage all weekend long because we got you covered.